Hello everyone. How are you doing?
Hello.
So that's the latest AMA. So a bit later than usually because, as you know, it was a Christmas, New Year, and everything. So everyone is back to the office.
Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year to everyone! Happy New Year to the community! So glad to be there. Well, guys, we have a lot to say today, no?
Yeah, big news coming.
Big news coming. So tell us, maybe from where do you want to start, Sébastien? Maybe you can tell us a bit more about the most recent statistics.
Yeah, can you show the graphics? Yes, perfect.
Yes.
So last episode, it went pretty smooth. We started early December, and we quickly got 3,000 nodes for and more for most of the episodes, and we reached even 4,033 nodes stakers. I think it's on December 25, Christmas, or December 26. And so we even broke our records a bit more than the previous one. There were 400 transactions per second for most of the episodes, and we started to increase it after Christmas, and we reached more than 1,000 transactions per second. And you see at the end the blue curve, the number of stakers started to decrease because many stakers have just the requirements, but when you increase the number of transactions per second, they start to fail. But we had still more than 1,500 nodes at 1,000 transactions per second, so that's pretty cool. And then we increased a bit more, and then it was the end of the episode. We didn't have time to put much more to try 1,500 transactions, but maybe next episode. So yeah, in the end, it went pretty well, and we'll see how it goes in the January episode.
Yeah, and actually it's quite impressive because I mean the number of nodes is always like more quality. I mean, like the nodes themselves are always more qualitative because as we saw, even when we start to increase the transaction, it's holding much better than the previous episodes. And actually, this episode, so the 6th episode, we have already from start almost 1,000 nodes more than what we used to have. Like yesterday evening, we reached 4,000 nodes. Right now, it's around like 3,800, but it's better and better and better, and with more and more nodes every time, right?
Yes. Every month it's getting better, and this month in January we will have 700 transactions per second for most of the month, and at the end again we will try to put more and maybe go to 1,500. See how many nodes keep going.
Nice.
It's not only people following requirements, it's also optimization in the code. Like there were a lot of optimization in the last episodes or two.
So what do you mean by optimizations? Maybe so for people to understand like what can change that makes also like the nodes handling better the transactions per second.
Actually, we mostly improved the caching system. So before, nodes tended to process things way too far in the pipeline before they dropped it when they realized they already knew about it. For example, when they received the transaction, they would start processing it to a very far in the process, and then they decided to drop them because they already knew about them. Now we have a very much earlier caching system where the nodes detect very early that they already know about something and can drop it more early. So we have optimized pipelines a bit everywhere, and thanks to that, now we're reaching a higher number of transactions per second at a stable state.
Top, super. So I think also before we go to explain like what are the latest things in the episode, what is going to happen, everything also regarding like the private sale and so on. I would just just wanted to congratulate people who had a perfect score. So as you can see, we have like 23 people who received so far like a perfect score in the testnet in the latest episode 5. So it's quite impressive. It means like I mean they didn't miss a single point. So it's really like really nice. So congrats, guys. So that's it. Exactly. I was going to say, so maybe for now, like we can start about what is going to be like in the episode 6, because we had a lot of questions related to that.
Okay. So basically in episode 6, I hope my sound is better now. In episode 6, we worked a lot. Many things changed. Actually, something almost half of the code base changed in terms of commits. And if you look at the end results, it's quite different from what it was before. So the consensus part is the same. The roles are quite similar. There are a lot of optimizations still there. But the main news here is that we added an extra smart contract engine in the system. Because before version 6, there was no smart contract engine. Now we have one. It's fully homegrown. It has no equivalent anywhere else. So it's also the reason why we had a bit of a bumpy launch because of all these changes. So you probably saw that right away when we launched, we were already at 6.5. And that's mainly because there were a few problems that we realized only when launching the system. So for the next episodes, we are going to improve the pipelines, test better beforehand. We are deploying a labnet. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, of course. Then the smart contract itself, how does it work? So the engine for now is quite minimal and simple. It's a WebAssembly engine using the Wasmer interpreter. And this WebAssembly engine is going to run smart contracts. For now, they can be written in basically TypeScript, which is the first iteration of our system. And these smart contracts can be hosted on the blockchain. They can run there. They can do very basic things for now. There's also a couple bugs that have already been found by the community, and thanks to that. So that's for the thing itself. So fundamentally, the smart contract engine can be seen as an add-on to the system, actually. In the future, in the next episode, we are going to refactor a big bunch of the consensus system to put it inside and put it together basically with the consensus system. Because right now, what it does essentially is observe the graph and do its own thing with it on its own ledger, on a separate ledger. So we have done that mostly so that it doesn't interfere with the existing consensus system until we stabilize it sufficiently and we realize that now we can fuse them together. And that's going to be the next steps. So speaking of next steps, we are currently working on something new, which is autonomous smart contracts. So, of course, we are continuing to receive feedback from the community, and we are open to improving the existing smart contract engine. But we're also working on these new features. And this autonomous smart contract engine, the idea behind it is to be able to emit events from a smart contract that can be caught later, at a later block stage, for example, by the same or another smart contract engine, or another smart contract. And that way, smart contracts can actually live on the blockchain without having to be explicitly called from the outside to do something. They can wake themselves up after a few blocks if they want. And that will be very unique. So that's one of the two main exclusivities of the Massa system. Then the second feature we are working on is the decentralized web. So for example, whenever you use any kind of DeFi smart contract, you always use it through a website. The problem we see with this is that most of these websites are hosted on centralized servers, and that's a problem because the code can change suddenly, somebody can hack it, it can become unavailable because of the hosts, or many problems can arise there. So we want the websites that are entry points to the smart contracts to live on-chain as well. That's how we are going to ensure that they cannot be modified easily, that they can always be stable, secure, the same. And of course, that even if hosts fall, you can always retrieve these websites because they are copied everywhere in the blockchain. And that is going to be made available by a combination of storing small zipped files on the blockchain. These websites need to remain quite minimal. And a plugin that we're currently working on that's going to be available for browsers. And this plugin is going to basically intercept some URLs that end up in Massa and use an on-chain name system, like something similar to the Ethereum name system, to resolve the smart contract address, get the website and show it in the browser without ever going through any centralized system. So that's our current targets. And if you want, I can also quickly answer a couple questions that I've seen. First of all, there was a question about the hardware requirements. So the hardware requirements, as always, have not changed. The target is what we have written in the FAQ. Of course, some people have realized that nodes can work with a bit less, and that's true because we are currently not running at 10,000 transactions per second. But we expect that if we increase the number of transactions per second, if the load on the network increases, when real people start using it on a large scale, then we need nodes that have approximately the requirements we have mentioned. These requirements are also important in case of an attack, because when a node is under attack, it needs not only to run the protocol, but also to have a little bit of buffer to be able to sustain and absorb the attack. So these are the reasons why there's a bit of a discrepancy between what could actually work kind of currently in terms of minimal configuration and what we would like people to have on their computers.
I had also a question, I think, that could be interesting in more details for everyone, because also we published on the Discord informations regarding the new smart contract engine. Maybe you can also explain, like, if people can already build like ERC20 kind of tokens, what is the situation regarding the different frameworks, like the different iterations, such as, like as we know on Ethereum, for example, ERC20, ERC 721, and things like that. And also maybe you can tell about Z80 that would join the team and who is also working on these kind of things.
Yes. So I think basically one of the goals of Massa is also to standardize things in the DeFi space and also in the smart contract space in general. Because you might know that in Ethereum, for example, before people standardized ERC20s and these kind of things, it was a bit of the Wild West. Everybody had their own kind of self-implemented token without a common interface. And it was not possible to easily build for something like a DEX, for example, because every single token had their own interface. Once ERC20 was there, people started following these standards, and they implemented tokens that followed the ERC20 standard. And from there, it was possible to build DEXs and things like that much more easily without having to cater to the special features of every single one of these tokens, because they all follow the same standard. And what we have realized in time is that, for example, DEXs themselves have become quite standard. There's a lot of them, and they're all kind of different. They don't seem to follow any kind of rules there. So we are thinking about going a bit further in the standardization process and define standards not only for the very basic smart contracts such as ERC20, but also for higher levels such as DEXs and things like that, so that basically people could build DEX aggregators and things like that the same way they were able to build DEXs when ERC20 was standardized. So that's one of our target here. And to achieve this, we have currently hired Z80. He's a smart contract developer that's pretty well known in the community. And now he's working with us. He has expertise in building DeFi systems. And together we are also going to work to define the DeFi baseline and the smart contracts, also the requirements in Massa.
Yeah. So also, yeah, I mean, I think it's quite interesting because I see like more and more people were asking, how to start to build and so on. I had also a question, because since the smart contract engine is kind of ready for the first iteration. So what do they need to do? So basically, can they come in the Discord and ask help to discuss with other like builders to launch first tokens? Also, some of them ask me, is it possible, for example, for testing to fork existing like, DEXs or token models from, for example, like Ethereum, Phantom, Polygon, to try them also on the Massa network? So what's the situation there?
Okay. So first of all, how to build things on the Massa smart contract engine. For now, there's not a lot of tooling. We are developing it, but it is already possible to build some things. We will publish all the tutorials and examples a bit later. So the idea is pretty simple. You run a node, or you connect to an existing node on the public interface. You develop your smart contract in basically TypeScript. You compile it. It gives you a WebAssembly file. And then you use the client command. You'll see that the new client has a new send smart contracts command that allows you to execute the code that's in the WebAssembly that you just made. So you basically run the client with his WebAssembly file as a parameter, and this allows you to execute on-chain the bytecode that's inside. So now that's one step. Then if you want your smart contract to be persistent, there are functions in the framework in the TypeScript for now that allow you to basically save a smart contract on the blockchain to be able to call it from other smart contracts. So this is already there, and you can already play with it. You can load data from the local data store of every smart contract. You can transfer coins. You can emit events. You can print stuff in the logs. There's quite a few things that we can already do, but it's also quite incomplete still. And for example, there's no way of testing whether an entry is in the data store without trying to get it and possibly failing. So that's something that's a problem that we're currently solving. It's going to be solved for the next iteration, of course. And so that's basically the general idea. For people who want to try newer features than the ones that are on the testnet, you can also feel free. We should try to find a way to show you how to basically run a single node on a separate network, your own single node on a separate network, basically. So you can play with newer things, so that we can discuss. We can also discuss about how to actually build smart contracts, give you more examples, and we are currently doing an effort on documenting it. So as soon as something is ready, we're going to provide it to you.
Yeah, and if you need help, I mean, just for everyone, if you need help also on that, or I mean, if you want the newest features or try different things, there is a dedicated channel on the Discord, which is called the Smart Contract Engine. So just feel free to go there and ping people. And there are also already some members of the community also who are developers and who are trying different things, also like building explorers and things like that. We saw also a lot of enthusiasm about people who wanted to launch a first token, mem tokens also on the testnet. So let's see where it goes. And also, since I mean, as you know, we spoke already about it, so we had some delay in the new website and new Explorer, but it's coming for the Massa website. I mean, it's ready. It's just something kind of deployment on our part, but it's ready. But maybe also Adrien can give a bit of a sneak peek also regarding like the fact that, I mean, the plugin and things like that, maybe. And then to move on also on things regarding whitelisting and such things.
Yeah. There was a lot of question regarding whitelisting. I understand that it's a concern because a lot of projects have been launched that put scarcity, but like artificially. The goal as Massa, as we've always said, is to allow everyone to participate in the network. So as you saw for the private sale, there was a cap, and there will be a cap also in the participation for the public sale. And so we believe that it will allow a lot of people to participate, but of course we will take a special attention to people that have been running Node, and so people that have been following us or helping us for sure will do something so that we can be sure that they can participate in the public sale. There was a lot of question also regarding rewards, so it's not specified entirely yet, but we'll give you details about the reward for the test for running nodes in the testnet, maybe in the next AMA. So I hope it will answer your question on this part. Now, as for the Explorer and the plugin, as you said, Vincent, we are working on it. I guess it should be there for the next episode. We're almost there, and the plugin we hope to develop it in the next months. This will allow you to use it as a wallet, to also interact with the Massa website. As Damir said, we want people to be able to host a decentralized app directly on the blockchain, and so you will be able to interact it directly from your browser through the Massa plugin. So that's something that we really want to release soon, and we hope we can give you news later.
So just for people also to understand what it means when we say to have your website also on the Massa blockchain, for example, for testing, it means when you will have the plugin, you will be able basically to enter like custom addresses which are like hosted on the Massa network, right?
Yeah, like for example, right now if you go to sushi.com or uniswap.com, like you interact with the real like standard website, and this is like a single point of failure, and if you think about it, it defeats the purpose of using a decentralized application, because if this site is compromised, like for example as it happened lately, I think it was Badger DAO, then people can change totally the website and the smart contracts that are run behind, and people can basically steal your funds. So if you want to trust what is going on, you would have to like inspect the website every time you go through it, which is obviously not realistic. And but with Massa, we want people to be able to host Uniswap directly on the blockchain. The website logic would be on the blockchain, and you would interact with this website through a plugin. Like this plugin, like MetaMask, would allow you to type on your browser like uniswap.massa, and then you would accept to Uniswap, and the website would be on the blockchain and it would be immutable, or you could verify what has been changed from the last iteration at least. Everything would be auditable, and this would improve massively the security and remove such kind of hacks that happened lately.
Yeah, so just for people to understand, yeah, like there was a Badger DAO hack, which was a front-end exploit due to something related to Cloudflare. And also recently, there were like a huge scandal related to GoDaddy with the fact that they are injecting some JavaScript into the servers of all their hosted website, which is also used, for example, for SEO exploits. So basically, all these exploits, because the websites are like a single point of failure. Imagine you have a D app running on GoDaddy, for example, there might be some code which has not been audited and which is exploitable by hackers, which will then inject code into the page, and basically they can change, for example, the way you interact with the page, and you can connect, for example, your wallet to something which is not the real decentralized application. So it's just to illustrate.
Yeah, good.
Also, we had a question in the chat from Chain Ops, but I think like you kind of answered to it, but maybe more specifically about like the figures we might expect or not regarding the mainnet. But I think I mean you can say it like we want everyone to be able anyway to be accepted into the mainnet, right?
Yeah, that's a general philosophy of Massa. There's always been like, of course, like we want to reward first people that have been helping us from the start and that have been running nodes, that have been helping each other in the Discord. But like it's more what is also really important is that everyone, like people that don't know yet about Massa, are able to participate. So we took special care to do some kind of whitelisting for people running nodes and helping people on Discord. And yeah, that's I guess I hope that it reassures everyone regarding this issue.
Yeah, so basically the idea would be to have a form of whitelisting. It needs to be based on KYC. That's something, it's a requirement. It's also to prevent cheating, of course. And so once we have this whitelisting, it's going to target mostly node runners and also people who have helped us and that can typically Massa friends and these guys. We are going to reward also the people who are there early. We're going to try to find all the people who we want to reward and also reward them. So that's going to be mainly whitelisting for the next sale. Yes.
I see that there was a question regarding the ancient website storage. Yeah,
yes.
It's not available yet. Yeah, you cannot use it yet because we don't have the Massa plugin. The smart contract engine works already. So this you can, as Damir said, start to play with it. It's maybe not like some tooling may be missing, but personally I find it quite cool already. I had a lot of fun playing with it, but of course, if you're not like experienced developer, you might find it a bit less easy. Also, it's missing a bit of documentation, but we are working on it, and we hope like to publish also small demonstration, small proof of concept, like very fastly. I mean, we don't have timeline yet, but we are working on it.
Yes, as some person is asking, how many features are left to develop? What's the percentage of the project? Well, the smart contract engine is the last big feature, but there's also a large amount of small things that are more behind the scenes. So, for example, you realize that at every testnet iteration, we have to stop the testnet, and then we launch a new testnet. And we cannot really continue like that. We would like to be able to do some smooth updates. And to achieve that, we need to develop a whole versioning system in the backend, in the nodes. So that's one thing that's reasonably large, less large than the smart contracts, but still something that's reasonably large that's left to be done. And we also are going to refactor, like we're going to do a big refactoring of the code base. The idea here is that this first iteration of the system has been built by making a lot of choices that afterwards ended up being for some good, for some not that good, mostly because we're doing something that has never been done before. And of course, we had to make some arbitrary choices when going ways people never went before. So now that we have experience, that we have seen how it went, what were the good ideas and the bad ideas, now we are going to refactor the nodes to improve the performance, the security, the maintainability, the extendability, and basically how easy it is to update the system and to onboard new developers into it. So that's once we have the smart contracts and the update system, we are basically feature full. Of course, there's a few things here and there to improve, obviously, but in terms of pure features for the basic node, that's it. Then on top of that, we want this base system to be sufficiently extensible so that plugins can be developed to create, I don't know, subnets on the smart contract engine, stable coins, whatever you want. Also, feel free to create things that communicate off-chain. We might think about some off-chain frameworks. But the idea is that the core itself is almost featureful. Now, what's remaining, to summarize, is finish the smart contract engine with autonomous smart contracts, finish the decentralized web system, create a versioning system, and do a big refactoring. That are the big steps remaining. And after we have done this big refactoring and all of that, the next step is going to not add any new features, but simply stabilize the system further, improve performance, security, get the code audited, and once everything is ready, then we can go to mainnet. That's the idea.
And since we are talking a lot about smart contract engines, there were a lot of questions regarding use cases. And what we believe at Massa is that like autonomous smart contracts, they enable a lot of applications, and particularly in the gaming space. Like we all like the game sector and would like to develop games on the Massa platform. So you can imagine CryptoKitties that would autonomously evolve on the blockchain, breed on the blockchain. So this would be pretty exciting. We could build a nice metaverse using autonomous features. Or of course, in the DeFi space, maybe it's more traditional, but we believe there is a lot of things to do. Maybe with autonomous trading bots, liquidation bots. Like there was a big problem with MakerDAO, which like at some point the gas fee on Ethereum they spiked, and the liquidation bots on MakerDAO they did not liquidate a lot of position because of that, and a large, pretty large amount of funds were lost in this due to that. And with autonomous smart contract, you could solve that. Like you could have a on-chain kind of bot that would liquidate positions that are under collateralized. So yeah, we are really excited about autonomous smart contracts.
We had also two interesting questions from D Ward. One of them was like, what do you think about subnet? What's your take on subnets? Because we know some blockchains also they're working on this feature. And the second question was related to the finality on the testnet.
Okay. So for the finality, it's important to understand how finality is defined in the first place. In our case, we defined it as basically how much time at most you have to wait. So in the worst case, like there's a huge attack, how long do you need to wait to be sure that your transaction cannot be canceled anymore? So by canceled, by probability, I mean that we consider that you're sure that it's not going to happen when the probability that it happens, given a 40% attacker over 100 years, is lower than 10 to the minus 15. So that's a very, very constrained and very well-defined finality. So that takes approximately, currently in the system, about 40 seconds. But this is a huge leap from what people often consider as final. This is way more, much higher requirements. So for most transactions that do not involve billions of dollars, waiting much less is enough. So about 20 seconds. Unfortunately, it's very hard for us to achieve very, very short finality times because we are decentralized. We made the compromise that we need the system to sustain loss of nodes, loss of liveness. Loss of nodes without causing a lot of loss of liveness. So that's a technical compromise that we have done, and we are of course working on like looking for solutions to improve the finality time. But for now, it's about 20 seconds for a typical transaction. And the first question was about subnets. So for subnets, for now we don't have a plan for subnets. We haven't had a lot of demand in the community, so we can discuss it, of course. It's still time to think about that. Subnets could also be implemented as a second layer, as layer 2. That's also an option. Massa is very generic. It's very much a layer 1. So from there, you can build on top of it. It could also be implemented within the smart contract engine. But for something that's implemented down to the layer 1, we still need to think about it. And feel free if you have any ideas about this or requirements on that.
So yeah, in general, like for example, for the subnets, so I mean, as you know, so it's still like, I mean, everything is in construction. There is a main smart contract engine being developed. There is the frameworks. There are like all these things like being developed. But if you have some things that you might find interesting, don't hesitate to go on the Discord or on Telegram to link some documentation and like things why you find it also interesting. So basically, also the team can dig in into why you find it interesting, and we can try to please as much as possible the community to have as many things as possible implemented from the layer 1 perspective. But as Damir said also, since it's a generic layer 1, everything is possible also on the layer 2 level. So no worries about that. We had also like maybe like a question which is also interesting, which is how many Massa for a node at launch?
We are still studying this point. Right now, we think it will be between 100 Massa and 1,000 Massa. The constraint is that if it's too high, not so many people can join with the minimal staking requirement. If it's too low, when an attacker does something bad, like double staking on multiple branches of the network, he loses a lower amount. So it's a trade-off between security and decentralization. But our goal is that if you're here with us in the testnet for several episodes, you will get as a reward enough to be a staker once mainnet is launched. You will get at least one role.
I had also two other very interesting questions from I'm sorry if I pronounce badly your name, from Tilele and from Tan Futran. So one is about the partnerships. Basically, what is the situation regarding like the current partnerships? Where do we go? I mean, what's behind the scene, and what can we say about it? And the second one is more related to tokenomics. So the second one is more about like, okay, what's the situation regarding token burning to increase like the value, for example. So just to explain also, it's because on Ethereum and, for example, on Polygon recently, they have been implementing EIP 1559, which is like burning more token than like rewards are distributed for the validators and also minted on chain. So basically, it became like from inflationary, it became deflationary chains. Also, Avalanche has been setting up such system, and recently also Luna, Terra Luna has been doing that. So what's the plan on that? So maybe who wants to take the question about partnerships?
Yeah, I can talk a bit about it. Yeah, I was talking, we are trying to develop use cases. Like we cannot announce partnerships right now, but we are working behind the scene. Mainly in the gaming sector, we want to showcase like how Massa can be used to build games on the blockchain. And by game, we mean like real game, not some kind of staking branded as a game. But we are also trying to develop like more standard application in the DeFi space, to have the basic building blocks of any blockchain so that people can interact also.
Yes, so basically with the upcoming smart contract engines, once we have all the building blocks and we have stable smart contract engine, that's where the real projects are going to start to be built on Massa. That's where we are going to discuss with the most partners. Some of them have already contacted us, but for now we cannot showcase smart contracts yet because we literally just published the smart contract engine. That's why not many applications were possible still. Now, however, it has become possible, and now we are activating these potential partnerships, and there's a lot of it coming actually very soon.
Yeah, and also on the more traditional part, I mean, we can see a lot of people are already willing to build a decentralized application. So I can feel the IMM wars are coming also on Massa. So let's see who is going to win. It will be interesting. But yeah, really happy about it. And regarding maybe the token burn, so what's your take on that?
For token burns, for now, there is no burning mechanism planned in the system. That's in the current state of things. Of course, we are still studying the tokenomics, and it might be possible that, for example, in the asynchronous context, if you imagine that a smart contract sent a message that's been executed later, the question would be, who do the fees from this later execution go to? Even if there's no block at the slot, they're going to be executed by the nodes. So one possible solution is that we burn it. One possible solution is that if there's a block at that slot, we give it partly to the block owner, partly we burn it, and partly we give it, let's say, to a DAO or something that can vote where it's going to be distributed again. All these are possible. And we are still defining this, but it's a very important question that we need to tackle right now.
And also, Evan, I wanted also to give my take on the burning mechanism. I think so. It's something that can happen in the future, but also at launch. As you know, Massa wants to be as decentralized as possible and to reach as many people as possible. So before developing also burning mechanism, I think it's quite important to have a more inflationary approach. And the deflationary approach can be something that comes later in the future once the network, the community, the access has been available for everyone. As you know, for example, for Ethereum, for Polygon, it's something that happened much later once the network had reached what the teams considered like a satisfactory expansion. So I mean that's something which is of course interesting, especially for the token holders, because you create also some kind of, like I would say, a fake scarcity and increase like the value by reducing also some liquidity about it. But it's something I think which is more on the long term. Once the network has reached also like some kind of stability expansion, which is satisfactory, because if not, also it's like creating limits in liquidity and in price for the access for everyone. So it's something which, of course, needs to be considered, and it's very important. I totally agree, but that's just to say it might not be right now. Maybe, guys, if you want to check the chat, there are like a couple of other interesting questions. So if you want to see if there is one also regarding the rewards for the Massa community and the Massa team.
So the question is, have there been?
Last question.
discussions about rewards for the Massa community. Yes, of course, and we mentioned it before. There are going to be rewards for node runners, of course. They're also going to the node runners that are stable, especially recently, but also in the long run, are going to be given roles to become the initial stakers of the mainnet. There's also going to be rewards for people who help, people who participate, etc. And now that we have a smart contract engine and people can start building on it, there are going to be different kinds of grants, and also rewards for people who build on Massa. So this is being set up as we speak right now. We are on the verge of hiring one extra person for that, actually.
So yeah, the team is still growing, and we are super happy. And by the way, if any of you wants to go on the Massa website and check the jobs page, if you think you are meeting the requirements, we are recruiting. If you know someone, we're recruiting. So I mean, it's a non-stop process, and the team is growing. Is there anything else, guys? You want to say? I mean, there is a question from maybe that's the last question we can take before wrapping it up. The last question from Marisa, which is about usability. I mean, what do we want to achieve on the blockchain? I mean, we spoke already about like game fee, what we want to do about it, but we spoke also about the decentralization. Maybe in 3 words or in a simple sentence, what's your vision for Massa, guys?
I mean, the goal is to be as decentralized as possible, as usable as possible, and also as innovative as possible. The idea is to become the blockchain that other blockchains failed to become, basically. The initial ideas behind blockchains, decentralization and all of that, were kind of lost in the different years. So the goal, I think that our goal should be to have something that's truly decentralized, because if it's not decentralized, it's not worth much compared to a normal database. And also provide infrastructure, like it's a layer 1, right? So there's not the goal is not to be on the front page here, but to become the backend, and a very interoperable backend for many DeFi, for many Web3, for many blockchain-related applications, but also to connect to the real world, to the normal finance space, to be able to interact through standards with the rest of the financial systems, and to have applications in real life, to be the backbone of many applications in real life. And that's what we truly believe in.
So maybe, yeah. Well, of course, like I can answer, but to Onur, yes, of course, Massa wants to be compatible with Web3 technology. I mean, that's the goal of building a layer 1. Actually, it's to be Web3. That's why we want to be able to have a website built on the Massa blockchain and things like that, games as well. So of course, we are going to be compatible with Web3 technology. Maybe let's wrap it up. So I mean, guys, I give you the floor to conclude.
Yeah, so maybe I can start. Okay, so really nice. Thanks for all the questions. It's really like I don't know how to say it, but motivating to see all the people involved in the project, running nodes, asking questions, trying to build stuff, and I'm particularly excited about the smart contract engine and to see people building new stuff. So thank you everyone. Thank you, Vincent, also for organizing this AMA as always.
Thank you very much. I mean, that's the team. So I mean, I love doing that. So Damir, Sébastien, award.
Somebody's asking why Sébastien is sleeping.
I'm sorry, I have COVID.
That's
a bit tired.
So he's still doing the AMA with COVID, guys. So and girls, and ladies. Sorry. So that's why he's sleepy.
But yeah, congratulations to all of you for running nodes, for being with us even when there are bugs, for helping us, and yeah, see you soon.
Yes, and yeah, thank you all for helping the project. I'm always surprised how good the community is. People are really nice-minded. They're curious, and we want them to continue being curious and to play with the system. We are going to publish some documentations for you guys to start playing with the smart contract engine, and we hope it's gonna reach an interesting level of maturity so we can start building true projects on the layer 1. Finally. So thank you all again.
Well, thank you very much, guys. So let's wrap it up. Thank you for all the questions. We're like super happy to have all of you there. Sergio, if you can like contact me, just contact us on the Telegram and the Massa channel. So we want to make you a surprise. So contact us on the Massa Telegram. See you guys. Bye bye.
See you.
Bye.
See you, everyone. Thank you.